Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the video. We're going to be doing Abbey today, okay? Abbey, and this map, if I'm just being straight up honest with you guys, is bad for light tanks. It's pretty garbage for light tanks. However, you can manipulate this map pretty well. There is a lot of stuff that I want to cover on this map, and I'm telling you, if you're a newer player, you would think it's fairly simple, but there's actually a good amount of stuff going on this map. A lot of chances for crossfire and flanking and stuff like that. Even though it's pretty much a corridor map, you have areas where you can come up like right here on the east side, and also on the west there's little gaps in the rocks and stuff where you can hit people in the mid. People in the mid can hit you. You can hit people from the north here, you can hit people from the south here. You know, there's just a lot kind of going on that I want to describe, and hopefully I don't miss anything. But from the start of this game, guys, we spawned on the south side and we went east, right? And from the east, in the even 90 specifically, but you can do this in other light tanks as well, you can knock this little tree here, and from this area you can spot this entire thing. Now what you have to be careful of is someone YOLOing through here. Obviously you don't want someone to poke right here because they'll spot you, but in this situation, you know, no light tank really came this way, so we were fine, and we end up spotting people. Pretty much you're gonna, if you get to this area, you're gonna spot a lot of tanks over here, and your tank destroyers behind you are going to be having a good time. Now the WZ-113G ends up making a slightly aggressive play, and he comes up to this tank, and you'll see he gets spotted in a moment here, and all my tank destroyers just start unloading on this dude. Now the WZ has really good armor, so it's not really doing much to him, but you'll see all the shells hitting off his upper hull. Like all these guys are aiming now, and you'll see them all fire, and his tank is like bouncing when all the shells hit him. You can see there, and he's like, oh wow, you know, he's trying to maybe back up a little bit and get hull down, and this is actually perfect for him because he is hull down. Like watch these next two shots that hit him. This one hits him here, this one hits him here, and this guy like basically cannot be penned in the upper hull, right? These guys are trying very hard, but it's a difficult shot, right? So eventually some of these shells start going in, and I'm getting the spotting damage, guys. But moving on from this area, you have this area, this kind of upper area of the east portion of the map, on around the 7 line. Now, you can make a play to push this at the start of the battle if you want. Okay, it's possible, and it's actually a decent play, but you just have to keep in mind it's a risky play, right? And I always tell you risk equals reward, but risk also equals risk, and you could die early on, right? So see, we're getting a little spotting here off the WZ now, but you can come up to this area, and what the east portion of this map allows you to do, at least the 7 line, is you can push up into maybe this little corner right here on the northern area of it and spot the north base. This is effective for someone coming from the south. You can spot this area of the map, or you can also sit right in here and try and counter enemies that are going to be in this area. This is like F5 or something like that, I think. Right in the middle of the map. This is a very common area for light tanks to go, and even mediums and stuff. They like to come right into this area, so they have shots going towards the east. And you also have shots going towards the west, but I will get into that. But from here, this is why mid is important on a lot of maps, because usually you have shots going in all directions. But I would say overall the mid is more important for the north spawn to take, and I will also go into that. But this spot right here, guys, is a great way to counter enemies that are going to sit in this area. So keep that in mind. Now, from the other side, if you are from the north spawn and you take this area, it's a very, very good spot because you actually have shots going like this, right at like where the tiger is now. And you can also hit people that are out here. So if I was spotted right now, this guy would likely be able to hit me. I say that from the north spawn, you're going to have a better time here. The reason for this is because people that are coming south to north, it's much easier to hit them. So using the tiger as an example, if this guy was alive right here, he would have shots on the tiger. all the way up until he got past this little rock area right here. Whereas for the south, you know, you kind of get cut off from taking those shots like right here or so. So it's not quite the same. It's better for the north, right? So I'm now going to come up to this portion of the map, and I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like in spotting the north side of this map. Now it's a little late for me to really get any spotting, but likely if I made it to this area, I would spot the Waffle Panzer. Now something to note is usually you can come around this area. I think in the even 90 it just doesn't have the power, and it's so small that you can't really traverse over these rocks, but in bigger tanks I've been able to come around that side of the building so you don't have to expose yourself, you know, coming this around this direction. But you can sit right here, guys, and you have a tree, you have like a little bush, you have some concealment here so you can kind of stay hidden. And realistically I would have shots of the Waffle Panzer actually to get the spotting damage for that, but that's the area where you can spot tank destroyers, because tank destroyers like to sit right here to have shots at the mid. And oftentimes they'll just hang out there because they're not really sure where else to go. So 50 TP is here. I'm going to put some shots towards this guy, and he dies, and now we're moving in, guys. This is a very quick game, but I will explain things in the free replay camera. But let's first finish this game and kind of see what happens here. I'll speed ahead. I'm going to spoil it for you guys. Everyone's sitting in A8. A8 is a very, very common area for tanks to go when the game is lost for them. It's really the only spot they have left. So I'm reloading. I'm going against the LT-432 here. I focused the final shot on his front plate there, and now we're going to move in. I do get one shot into the ISU, I believe. I think it's the one that cleans him up. So here we go. I clean him up, and we end up with 800 damage and almost 2k spotting. Now, what I want to show you guys is we'll kind of go over what I just went over quickly, and then we're going to get to the rest of the map. So the east portion of this map, so not to confuse you guys, this is, so we have north this way, south, or I'm sorry, north this way, west that way, east that way, and south is this way. So this is the east portion of this map over here. And what you can see is if you get to right here, you can knock a tree down, and you can kind of counter people in this area, right? You can also do it from like over here. This is kind of an option, but I think the angle is a little wrong. But it's an option, right, guys? And you can come over to this area as well from the north spawn. So if you spawn on the north and you push this way, you can actually come over to like this bush and help spot enemies in this area. So this is why I'm explaining all these things to you, because there's a lot of stuff going on this map, even though it's a small map, but it's condensed, right? So you have those options. If you're on the south spawn like we were, you can try this corner. The north spawn, you can try this corner to get some spotting, or you can sit in these areas and you have the shots to counter people that are going to come to the mid, right? Now from the mid, here's the shots that you have. I'm going to show you this so you understand the angle. Look at it like this. You have, in between these two buildings, you have shots going onto people until they basically go around this corner of this rock. Because you have this angle, and you can move over a little bit, and you have this angle. And then you even have shots of people that are pushing in like this as well. So if that tiger was pushing in, and when that tiger was pushing in, if this guy was alive here, because I believe he's an enemy player, he would have shots on the tiger right here, he would have shots on the tiger right here, and he would have shots on the tiger going all the way until he made it around this corner. Now, if we're talking north to south, it's not really the same thing, because say I came up here, right, because I'm from the south spawn. The shots are not quite as easy because people that are pushing in, you're only going to have their front plates, so it's going to be harder to pen. And then they can get safe as long as they get to like right here. Like once they're like right here, they're safe. Whereas over here, you have all the way up into this corner, right, before people go around that corner, which the equivalent over here would be like over here. So it's just the way the map works, guys. It's not 100% perfectly balanced, and in my opinion, it's more important for someone from the north spawn to take the mid, because the shots over here are better. You also have shots going into this direction. So not to confuse you guys, there are multiple areas. You can see the openings right here, 1, 2, and 3, where if people are pushing in this way or people are going this way from the mid, from right in this area, and you can shoot people from down here, but you're more exposed. You don't really have the hard cover. You got to be careful. You can get shots through these bushes on heavies, like side plates of heavies. So keep an eye on that, and also keep an eye on them because they have the same shots. They can pull into these bushes. So if you're in this entire middle area, be mindful of people that could be over here for crossfire, right? So that's that. And you see how many things I can keep adding to this list on Abbey, guys. But one more thing I also wanted to note is from the north spawn, why is it even more vital to take this area? It's because of this spot right here. This bush, and you have the hard cover for this building, you can sit in this bush towards the end of the game and spot the entire south portion of this map. You can kind of do the same from the north spawn, but again, similar to over here, it's not balanced because it's not quite the same. You don't have the hard cover here. There's like a dead tank here, and you're going to get spotted here. There's like one tree, but likely you're going to get lit here, and you just don't have the same kind of area to be able to stay hidden, right? And also have hard cover. So yes, you can kind of make it work, but I'm telling you, like, it's more vital for someone from the north spawn to take the mid. That's just the way Abbey works in my eyes. Maybe other people have different plays that they make, but from what I see, it's just the way the map works. You have better shots going east, you have the shots going west, which is really going to be the same for either spawn, but you have the better shots and also the better spotting going to the south spawn as well from the north. So hopefully that doesn't confuse you guys. I know it's a lot to explain, but if you have any questions, do let me know. Now, one more play that I want to talk to you guys about, because we only talked about going east, right, on this map pretty much. There's one other play you can make in a light tank that I really like to make. There's actually two, but they are both coming to the mid. You can come up like this from the south or the north spawn, and you can rush the mid if you want. It's an option. It's a very, very risky option, but if that floats your boat, then go for it. Risk equals reward, right? And you would take the mid, but the chances of you dying for doing that are very high, because you might get whacked by a tank destroyer that's sitting here, or if you're coming from the other spawn, that's sitting right here, because tank destroyers love to sit here and wait for those shots. You got to be careful of that, and you got to be careful of other people that are going to YOLO in there too. So it's just risky, man, because it's like a 50-50 play, right? Half the time you could die making that play. What I suggest you do, and I will show you both areas from each spawn, is come lower in the mid. And from here, what I like to do is I will actually, sometimes I'll go this way, but I like to run up, or rather run down here, run through here, and come right to this building. And from this building, you can usually get one, maybe two shots off at people that are going to the mid, and you're relatively safe to do it. And then if someone's YOLOing you like this, you just run away. But it's an easy counter, and a way to kind of prevent light tanks from making it to this area is to rush through here, and then you have the shots going into them as they're trying to kind of crest the hill and take the mid. Same thing is true for this spot right here. If you're coming from the north spawn, you go down this little area here and come up, and you sit right here. The angle is a little weird. You kind of have to take it, you got to get close to this building because you might have gun depression issues. But you can sit in this bush, and what's also really helpful is if you have a tank with decent gun depression, you can almost sit on the edge of this, like right here, and you can spot anyone coming through here, as well as have the shots going towards people that are going to crest right here, right? So you have those shots similar to the shots you have from this building right here, from this area. So that's a good way that I like to start my game on Abbey. If I'm not in the even 90, because if I'm in the even 90, I'm probably trying to spot the east. But if you want to go to the mid and you have a slightly more aggressive light tank, you can make this play work without YOLOing the mid, right? Just come to this area or come to this area, and you have shots at the other risky light tank players that are going to try and take the center. So that's that, and again, watch out for people that might have shots on you from the west side of this map. You see how much goes into this, guys. There's one other play I like to show you guys about, and that's this little hill. This hill going south to north is actually pretty good, because you can tuck up into this area right here, and you have shots. Like, you can sit into these bushes, and you actually have shots at TDs that might be trying to defend from the west side. and stuff like that, and you have like the crossfire and stuff. So you can try and experiment with this area of the map as well if you're coming from the south spawn, right, like we were. I think that's all I wanted to cover on Abbey, guys. I hope this helps you out and doesn't confuse you anymore. The last video I did, I had someone comment and say that I was contradicting myself and that they were kind of confused. It's my hope that I'm not confusing you guys. It's just, you got to realize I'm taking like 1,000 battles of experience on these maps, and maybe not that many, but hundreds at least, right guys? And I'm trying to condense it all and put it all into one video for you guys, and it can be a lot to explain, and these videos are harder than you think to make. Like, it's so much to remember and to tell you guys and to explain for each map that sometimes I might lose my words for a moment, and maybe I do contradict myself. But if you have questions, just comment them below and let me know, and I will get back to you. You know, I'm not some super famous YouTuber, so I get a few comments on the videos, and I love them. I like answering your guys' questions. It makes me feel important. It makes me feel like I'm doing something. But that's it, guys. Honestly, this is one of those maps where the mid is pretty important. Again, it's more important for the north side in my opinion, but it's one of those maps where it doesn't really matter which side of the map you win. It just matters which side you win first, right? For the most part, I'm not saying this is like 100% true, but I feel like if the enemy team wins the east first, likely you're going to lose. If the enemy team wins the west first, likely you're going to lose. If you win the east first, likely you're going to win. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those maps where it doesn't really necessarily matter, because there's good spots on both sides of the map to get crossfire and all, right? In the middle of this area right here, I told you about the crossfire going west to the center. This area is actually high ground and is really good for, you know, shooting people at the base and stuff. And then on the north, you kind of have a similar area where you have like that bush, similar to this, except it's a little more closed off, but you're high ground, right? From the south, or I'm sorry, from the east, you have to go uphill, right? Like you're kind of downhill here and downhill here, and people have the shots from the mid if you're going to be over here. But on the east, you also have this entire upper platform area. So you have shots going like this, you have shots going like this, you have shots on the mid. So to me, it's almost even. Like, it doesn't really matter which side of the map you win, in my opinion, because they're both almost equal when it comes to what they have, right? If this upper area didn't exist over here on the east, I would say that the west is more important. But hopefully you guys understand what I'm getting at here. Both sides are almost equal. And one more thing to note, guys, just don't go over here in a light tank unless you're Lemming Rush, because I think his name's James. He stopped playing World of Tanks pretty much. He came back for like one stream and then he stopped again. But this is the only guy I used to watch Lemming Rush. Used to be a very good light tank player. He's one of the only light tank players I would watch that was actually good at brawling with light tanks. Like, he would take light tanks to heavy parts of the map, and I don't know how the heck he made it work, but just try to avoid this area, guys. I showed you plays you can make on the east. I showed you plays you can make in the center. I never go west. I think it's just not worth it unless the situation calls for it and it's like a 3v3 and you need to flank or something like that. But that's just something that you pick up and learn as you play a light tank, where you might need to go end game when there's only a couple of tanks left. I hope this helps you out, guys. Again, if you have any questions, don't stay confused. Ask me the questions. I'll get back to you. Comment whatever you want. I respond to like paragraphs, guys. Like I said, I'm not a famous YouTuber, so if any questions you have, feel free to ask them, guys. I've been playing light tanks for years. I enjoy bringing these videos for you guys, and I'm on like a map awareness type of thing right now, where I'm just bringing you guys video after video after video of different maps and showing you the strategy on each of them as I understand it with my years of light tank experience in World of Tanks. So that's it. If you like what you see, guys, do subscribe and help me out. The thumbs up helps it get recommended. That's why I'm doing this. I just want to help you guys out to enjoy World of Tanks, because it seems like the community is becoming more toxic, but there's also less people playing this game now because the wargaming just keeps putting things into the game that people don't want. So it's my hope that I can help you guys out and make you enjoy World of Tanks. Maybe you want to play light tanks now that you see all these videos, but that's my goal, guys. Like, I just want to help you out. I want you to enjoy the game and all, and that's it. Again, sub if you like the videos, guys. It really helps me out. And any questions, please, please, please just drop them below and I will get back to you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you for the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.